A very good afternoon, all of you. Welcome to Super Coaching UPSC by Textbook. So, students, as you know that every Friday I'm coming up with this very much important session on discussions on previous year questions. In the last week, I have discussed about questions about India location. In this session, we'll be discussing about previous year questions on Indian geography of the section India physical features. So the physiography of India, whatever the questions have been asked in the last few years, that is at least I have taken for a practice of 25 years on the topic India physiography, we'll be discussing that. As I have told you, previous year questions, preparation of topic wise will be very helpful for your preparation of the exam, be it in terms of understanding about the trends of the exam, simulating the real life real events of the exam, or else about the issues associated with the things like the understanding the trends of the exam, understanding making you to practice about the entire syllabus of this UPSC exam. In every manner, you will get to know that previous year questions are a gem, right? In fact, if you complete the previous year questions of all the previous year questions of at least around 25 years of all the topics of all the subjects, I'm definitely saying that it will give you an edge like anything in terms of the basic coverage of the entire syllabus. The only next thing you need to do is preparation of current affairs. So with this idea into consideration, I am starting this session. Now let us see the previous year questions on this topic. Now this is the question which was asked on about the India physiography. Try to answer this question. Read the question carefully. Now you see this, the paleomagnetic results obtained from India indicate the paleomagnetic results obtained from India indicate that in the past the Indian mantle has moved towards which side? I think as part of the continental drift, we have seen that Indian land was part of a certain ancient land. What is that land? We'll discuss that. That land, from that to which side India has moved? You have seen that India has moved southward, northward, eastward or westward. What is the answer? So India has been once upon a time in the southern hemisphere, and from here slowly we have moved northwards. So the answer, India has moved which side? Northward. This would be the answer. So Indian landmass has moved northward. As you can see this, 70 million years ago, India was in the southern hemisphere. Of course, 200 million years ago, it was part of the one big landmass, Pangaea, right? Pangaea. Then you have seen that 70 million years ago, because of the northward movement of the plate, right? We have seen the plate tectonic theory as per this, and then that led to the present Indian landmass, and here you will find the Himalayas, right? So this is the thing. So which side India has moved? India has moved northward. So answer would be what? Northward. Now let us see the next question. Now this is also a very easy question. Try to read and then I'll get to know about the answer. Right. The Indian subcontinent was originally part of a huge landmass called as what? was part of a huge mass called as Gondwana continent. Gondwana. Don't write Jurassic, Aryavarta or Indiana. It is part of the Gondwana continent. Now you see these questions. The previous question and this question, these are very, very easy based questions. You cannot do any kind of mistakes here. Cannot commit any mistakes here. In fact, if you commit any mistake here in such questions, in fact, these would be blunders, right? These would be the blunders. So I would expect you to not to commit a single mistake on such kind of questions. And out of every chapter, you'll always find easy to medium to difficult questions. Never ever commit any kind of mistakes. And some background, you all know that as part of the continental drift, the world was divided into two big land masses. First, it is Pangaea, surrounded by an ocean called Panthalassa. Pangaea and Panthalassa were separated by, you find that this is the big landmass. Pangaea got divided into two land masses. You can see Laurasia and Gondwana land. Right. In fact, Pangaea is one big landmass surrounded by big ocean, Panthalassa. That was the base 200 million years ago. Right. Almost 225 to 200 million years ago, that was the case. Then around the same time, Pangaea got broken into Laurasia and Gondwana land. So Gondwana land consists of the present continents like, this is South America, this is Africa, you can see this Madagascar, this is Indian subcontinent, Australia, this is Antarctica, and this is Australia. This is Antarctica, right? So then Laurasia, this is about the North America. You find parts here Greenland, and then you will find the Eurasia. So that is the thing. Then they are separated by which ocean? What is this ocean named it as? The Tethys Sea. That is the Tethys Seas. Right. Tethys Seas, these kind of things, they can ask you about questions. Then slowly, because of the continuous drift, which was later on explained by the reason plate tectonics, we have seen that India has moved into the present hemisphere in this way. So India is part of which hemisphere? Gondwana continent. I hope I am audible to you, all of you. Right. Okay, it's good. It's all audible for all of you. Let's move forward to the next question. Now read this question carefully. If there were no Himalayan ranges, what would have been the most likely geographical impact on India? If there were no Himalayan ranges, what would have been the most likely geographical impact on India? Think about the physiography, the significance of Himalayas. As you think about the significance of Himalayas, you can get this answer right. Read this carefully, then I'll get to know then I'll be discussing the answer. Read all the statements, statement 1, statement 2, statement 3. Right. Now if you see it, if there were no Himalayan ranges, yes, assume there are no Himalayan ranges, then what would happen? What would have been the most likely geographical impact on India? It is nothing but what is the significance of Himalayas they are asking, right? Much of the country would experience the cold waves from Siberia. Definitely, yes. In fact, we have seen Himalayas protect India. Himalayas protect India from the cold Siberian air mass. They protect the India from the cold Siberian air mass. In fact, you have seen them reels, no, where people used to throw the water into the atmosphere. Before that water falls onto the ground level, it will convert into ice. You will all see such kind of things from whenever you are under the influence of a cold air mass. Say, for example, blizzards in North America. Blizzards in North America. Such kind of things can also be seen in regions of Siberia. Similarly, when you don't find Himalayas, the Siberian air mass can come as south as towards almost to the South India, and especially in the northern India, because of lack of much heat, you will find that that will be having that sold cold cooler things, and we can do such kind of cool stuff. Right. So that's the thing. Much of the country would experience the cold waves from Siberia, definitely. I think we have all studied that Himalayas protect India from cold Siberian air mass. Indo-Gangetic plain would be divided of such extensive alluvial soils. In fact, the alluvial soils of Indo-Gangetic plains have been formed because of the rivers which originate from the Himalayas and which have deposited in the thousands of years, right? So definitely the alluvial plains which we find across the Indo-Gangetic plains are a product of the extent of the height of the Himalayas through which rivers cut the Himalayas to their headward. In fact, the rivers do something called as headward erosion. Because of this headward erosion, you are finding that they are cutting the things. So keeping that into consideration, you would see that this is a very, very important thing, right? Indo-Gangetic plain would be devoid of such extensive soils. Then the pattern of the monsoon would be different from what is at present. Yes, definitely. I think you all know that monsoons in Bihar are called as Purva range, right? Right? Because the monsoons comes from the east, they'll call it as Purvaya, right? Purva, east, eastern winds. That means what? When you see that for the monsoons, for the regions of, the Biharis, right? If you see that, the winds from Bay of Bengal enter like this. Because of the mountain structure, they travel like this. So what happens? Usually the rainfall decreases as you move from here. The rainfall would be high, and slowly as you move from here, you will see that rainfall will decrease, low, high to low in this way. Right. Generally, we can say that rainfall decreases along the Ganga plains from the east towards the west. Rainfall will decrease. It is because of the Himalayan monsoon. It is because of the monsoons. It is because of the Himalayan structure which you are aligning the monsoonal winds. Also, Himalayas are also having a role to play with respect to the location of the subtropical westerly jet stream. So we have the subtropical westerly jet stream, and we all know the significance of this jet stream on the Indian monsoon. So definitely the monsoon which we know would not be the same had there been no such Himalayas, right? So Himalayas have significance with respect to every aspect. Now I'll tell you a technique. Himalayas are significant with respect to any subtopic of Indian geography syllabus. For example, you see India location, Himalayas significance with respect to one, location. Location. When you talk about the location of India, the Himalayas location is what making India as a pure subcontinent, isn't it? Why? Because you see that the location of India strategically important in Himalayas, because only this location has helped to not to have connectivity from China. There's acting like a big wall-like structure. This wall-like structure is the reason why there were not such kind of movement from the Chinese side towards India. Majority of the intrusions into India, the invaders have arrived always from this side, right? The Hindu Kush mountains of Afghanistan, because only through this India was accessible. So Himalayas has protected India as an acting like a giant wall, right? So China has built the Great Wall of China. That's what they say so. But India, we had that Great Wall in terms of the physiographic boundary of Himalayas itself, right? So this is the Himalayan things. That is number one. Number two, We can talk about climatic significance of Himalayas, the climate of Himalayas. For example, the Himalayas impact the climate of India. We told you that just now the Siberian cold air mass, the monsoonal things, it has a relationship with the climate. Number 3, we can talk about the drainage. Drainage, water. The headward erosions of the rivers are able to provide the soils, and these rivers are the sources of rainfall sources of water for us, be it the Indus river, the Brahmaputra river, the Ganga river, the Yamuna river, which is a tributary of Ganga itself. You have seen that they have a huge role to play in our climate, in our life itself. So drainage pattern of India to a certain extent is because of the Himalayas. That's why we call it as Himalayan river systems, isn't it? Drainage. Then we have something about even the physiography, natural vegetation. For example, the kind of vegetation Himalayas have is very, very different. We have done another video about why there is no less rainfall. There is less snowfall in the Gulmarg regions, that is in the Himalayas and all. We have discussed about the alpine meadows, the grasslands of Himalayas, alpine meadows, the grasslands of Himalayas. They're very, very significant. These are the centers of so much flora and fauna. These are the centers of tourism, isn't it? That is the thing. Then we have discussed about the soils of India. Just now we have discussed Indo-alluvial plains. These are because of this. Then we can talk about agriculture of Himalayas. The Shimla apples, right? Sixth one. We can talk about agriculture. Say Shimla apples. We have even the dunes, which are the centers of agriculture cultivation, say like rice. We have seen such kind of things. Dunes. What are dunes? Dunes are nothing but the deposits of the river uh, are obstructed, right? As the river is moving across the mountains, the elevation of the topographical elevation, say like when shivaliks were formed, they are obstructing the movement of the rivers, and that led to development of some lakes. These lake deposits are what we call it as dunes, and these are now the centers of some kind of agriculture. Say Dehradun is a flat land which is found along the mountain range. It is because of that kind of flat, vast deposits that turned into a city, that turned into a town among the mountains. Where do you find a town? It's among the flatland. Dunes are the centers. Usually, traditionally, these centers are basis for agriculture. So dunes, that we can talk. Recently, we can talk about even minerals, right? You have seen even the mineral like the lithium minerals, which was discovered in the Kashmir recently, the lithium. So such kind of things are regularly being there. You have to see such kind of things which are there. Now this is the significance of Himalayas. This topic, your understanding has to be there in such a way, and this indirect understanding will also help you to clear in your prelims exam as well as the mains exam whenever they ask about the significance of Himalayas. Move forward to the next question now. Right. When you travel in the Himalayas, you will see the following: deep gorges, U-turn river courses, parallel mountain ranges, steep gradients causing landsliding. Which of the above can be said to be the evidence of Himalayas being Engfold mountains? We all have seen that Himalayas are the Engfold mountains. What are the evidences? Right. Try to answer this, all of you. Right. Yes, Simran, you are saying that B is the answer, or which question are you seeing now? Which question are you seeing? Right. Now, if you see it, when you travel in the Himalayas, you will see the following. Deep gorges, definitely yes. U-turn river courses, definitely yes. Parallel mountain ranges, yes. We can see we have the Karakoram range. Then we have, that is the Trans-Himalayas, the Karakoram Ladakh Jaskar range. Then we have the Greater Himalayas, Lesser Himalayas, Shivaliks. So we have a four range. Each one indicates that at one type of the intrusion of the plate boundary, you have seen that this has been formed. So that definitely indicates that, right? That definitely indicates that uh, the parallel mountain ranges is an indicator of they are the young fold mountains, because each fold mountain range will indicate that it happened at one different time. So definitely even third is also correct. The steep gradients causing landsliding are indicating that still they are continuous in process. There is a tectonic movement. So these are still young, which have been, the development is still happening. So even steep gradients causing landslides parallel, and the syntaxial bends which you have is a reason for the U-turn river courses, say like Brahmaputra, which enters like this across the Namcha Barua, right? And the deep gorges. Why do you think you have deep vertical down cutting of the gorges? It is because of the most movement. So what do you mean by gorge? Gorge is nothing but vertical erosion. In fact, you have a V-shaped valley. This is a V-shaped valley. This V becomes even narrower, right? For example, this is also a V, right? So narrow V-shaped valleys are what we call it as gorges. A bit relatively wider, we call them as canyons, isn't it? Relatively, you call it as, right? Yes, Ritu. Where when does U starts? U starts U-turn river courses. U-turn river courses is like this. Brahmaputra originates in the Tibetan region along the Kailash Manasarovar range, moves from it as part of almost parallel to the India boundary with China. Then at around Arunachal Pradesh, it takes a turn into India. Now this is a U-turn, no? So this is like U, isn't it? So you can see here, this is like a U. That's what you call U-turn river courses. The U-turn river courses are because of the syntaxial bending. This bending is also an indicator of young fold mountains. So for this, answer should be D. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think Ritu, Simran, hope you have got this understanding now. Got this? Got this understanding of difference here, right? So this is the answer 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? You can see this, the mountain ranges. These mountain ranges. Yes, we'll discuss this question in the next one. I hope you got it now. Right. Let's move forward. Now you see this. These are the U-turn gorges. You can see here. Deep gorges. Look at the altitude. Now you see this is the U-turn. Example, you can see the Brahmaputra river. Right. Then now try to answer this question. This should be very easy now. This should be very easy now. The Brahmaputra, Irrawaddy and Mekong rivers originate in Tibet and flow through narrow and parallel mountain ranges in their upper reaches. Full stop. Upper reaches. That is in the upper portions of their courses. Right? Then, of these rivers, Brahmaputra makes a U-turn in its course to flow into India. This turn is due to only one syntaxial bending of geologically young Himalayas. Uplift of the folded Himalayan series. Just because Himalayas have folded, because of that, rivers did not take a U-turn. Now you see this phenomena. Once again, the other side. This is another difficult question. You can see when there are mountains like this, and imagine there is a river which is moving like this. There is nothing wrong in it. The U-turn is because of the syntaxial bend. Then you are finding the river which is you are taking a turn, right? So as you can see this picture here, the U-turn is it at the syntaxial bending, that is the curve-like structures which you find at the edges. Where do you find the U-turns for the Brahmaputra? Brahmaputra U-turn. One such U-turn you find is what? The Namcha Barwa. Namcha Barwa. Now, where is Namcha Barwa? Namcha Barwa is in which state? What is the location of Namcha Barwa? Anyone? Yes? Simran, Ritu? Where is Namcha Barwa? Can you guess? Can you guess? So, Namcha Barwa, many of you, we assume that it is in Arunachal Pradesh. No, it is not in Arunachal Pradesh. Namcha Barwa, it is not in Arunachal Pradesh. It is rather in China, very close to India's boundary. It is very close to India's boundary in China. And the other syntaxial bend is Nanga Parbat. Right? What is the other one? Nanga Parbat. This is technically now in Ladakh, that is the Pakistan occupied Kashmir, which we say. Nanga Parbat, and the other one is Namcha Barwa. These are the turns. And this is where the river takes a turn, right? So it is because of this syntaxial bending, the river has taken a turn. Otherwise, we would not have seen that. Now, right? So many of you would confuse this. Now, let me show you a picture. Okay. Okay. Oh, maybe I haven't got you this picture. I haven't got you this picture. So in the NCERT, there is a picture. I think this was got cropped here. So in the NCERT, if you see this, the Eastern Himalaya section, okay, not this picture. There is another picture of Eastern Himalayas in NCERT. In the Eastern Himalayas, you can see clearly Namcha Barwa located in beyond the Arunachal Pradesh. So it was clearly mentioned. So one task for you, all of you, pictures speak a lot. Read and observe the maps and pictures provided in NCERT. Read and observe the maps and the pictures provided in the NCERT. The more you do that, you will learn so many new things which we assume that it was the case, but definitely some facts and fictions, you can declassify them, you can remove, you can separate them. Until now, you have assumed that this is a fact. No, this is a fiction. Now you will come to know. For so many days, you assumed that this could not be. No, this is right. Fact. Right? So you can separate that. Do this. Okay. I hope you got to understand. Uplifted of folded Himalayan series, mountains being rising, that is not the reason for the U-turn. It is the bend which is leading to the U-turn. Right? Let's move forward to the next question now. Now try to answer this. You have seen a map here. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the Jammu and Kashmir and the Ladakh map. or the erstwhile Jammu and Kashmir, right? When it was a state, you can see this. There are mountain ranges 1, 2, 3, 4. You need to identify them in order. Now, which is 1, which is 2, which is 3? Try to identify. What is this first range? What is the second range? What is the third range? What is the fourth range? At least try to tell me what is this first range. This range is known as the northernmost range of India is known as Ritu, Simran. Yes. The northernmost range of India is known as which one? In fact, the northernmost range, this would be the Karakoram range. Karakoram range. Karakoram range is the northernmost range of India. Right. Right. Karakoram range is the first range. Karakoram. Then after Karakoram, we have the, now Karakoram is the northernmost range. Then the answer should be either of this B and C. Then you need to know the order. In fact, Karakoram range, this would be the Ladakh range. This is the Jaskar range. And then you have the Pir Panjal range. Then the knowledge, minimum knowledge you need to have. Pir Panjal, it is part of the lesser Himalayas, isn't it? Karakoram, Ladakh, Jaskar, they are part of the Jaskar range. They are part of which side of the mountains? We call it as Tibetan Himalayas, or these are Trans Himalayas. Trans Himalayas. Tibetan Himalayas, Trans Himalayas. Right. Yes, Ritu, you are asking about questions about geography of rivers, lakes, which river, national park. Okay, I'll try to conduct a session on that later on. Yeah, maybe in the month, after a few days, after a week, I'll try to conduct on such things. I will check into that. Right. Now, this is the thing. So, even if you know that the series of parallel mountain range of Himalayas, now you see this is the Karakoram range. You can see here, the Karakoram range is this, then you have the Ladakh range, then you find the Jaskar range, then you find the Pir Panjal. These three, these are part of the Trans Himalayas. Then you find the Great Northern Range, Greater Himalayan Range, which is where you will find the Mount Everest and all. Then you find the lesser Himalayas like Pir Panjal, Dhauradhar, Masuri, all such kind of things. After that, the outer Himalayas or the Shivaliks. So you have the, when you are moving from Delhi, first you will find the Shivaliks, then you will find the lesser Himalayas, which are represented by Pir Panjal, Dhauladhar range. Then you find the greater Himalayas, which are acting like a big boundary. Then you find the Trans Himalayas or the Tibetan Himalayas, which are a series of mountain range like Karakoram, Ladakh and Jaskar. Right. Even Kailash in Tibet, yes. Even the Kailash range in Tibet, this is also part of the Trans Himalayas. So, such mapping is very much important to understand. This is one such thing. Now, another question. Now, you try to answer this. Nanda Devi peak forms a part of right. Now you can see, where is Nanda Devi? Nanda Devi mountain peak is part of which state? It is part of Uttarakhand. Now you need to know Uttarakhand is part of the which mountain range? Nanda Devi is in Uttarakhand. Definitely you can avoid Assam. You can avoid Nepal. Definitely. Then you should have known that even Punjab is not this. The answer is Kumaon Himalayas. Kumaon Himalayas. Right? Right? So that is the thing. Kumaon Himalayas, you can see here. Nanda Devi is part of the Uttarakhand. And when you talk about the regional division of the mountain range, we have divided this in this way. The mountains between Indus and Satluj, we call it as Punjab Himalayas. Satluj and Yamuna, we call it as Satluj and the Kali River, we call it as the Kumaon Himalayas, Satluj and Kali. The Kali and the river Tista, we call it as Nepal Himalayas. Tista and Brahmaputra, we will call it as the Assam Himalayas. So this is the regional division. Punjab, Kumaon, Nepal, Assam Himalayas as such. So Kumaon Himalayas is where you will find Nanda Devi. This is the regional division of mountains. Regional division of the Himalayan range. Alright. So for the northeast, you are asking a question, no? What are the mountain ranges in northeast? Yes, northeast we don't have. We have the mountains which you call it as Purvachal range, the Patkai Boom, right? The Naga Hills, the Mizo Hills, the Mishmi Hills. Those are the northeastern hill ranges. We'll discuss that as well. Right, in the northeast you will find only one, the Great Himalayan Range. The map you are talking, maybe if you are asking about this question, this mountain range is the Great Himalayan Range, the Great Wall or the ones which is there, Greater Himalayas which we call, where the height is 6,000 meters. On these things only you will find Mount Everest, 8,848. You will find other hill ranges, mountains which are having loftiest mountains. All of them are mostly located along the Great Himalayan Range. Right. Then down south of this we will have the Shivaliks after Lesser Himalayas. Right. Now another such kind of MCQ practice which you need to do of the learnings you need to do about this is, they can be asking questions about matching the list of valleys with particular states. Now here, if you have Jammu and Kashmir, you can also consider this as Ladakh, because this is a previous year question. Previous year question before 2019. So you can take that as a base and you can prepare. Then you can differentiate later on. Now valleys and states also they can ask you. Now you see the difficulty. The first question you have seen, India moved to which side? Southwards or northwards? India is part of the Gondwana land or Angara land? Such easy questions everyone is supposed to do, blunders. Now you see the difficulty level has increased. Now you need to know at least one valley to get differentiation. Otherwise you would not have got that, isn't it? So the Markha Valley, Zokou Valley, right? Zokou Valley, Sangla Valley, and Yumtang Valley. Where are they located? In fact, if you have studied, if you have observed the newspapers, if you have observed the things, I would try to tell you that whenever I am reading newspapers, some places, I will try to observe. See, then if I observe, say example, Sangla Valley, the name sounds more like Himachal Pradesh. So I would go for C as 2. Right. I know that by nature I have studied Markha Valley, that is part of the Jammu and Kashmir. So Markha Valley, Jammu and Kashmir. So I know this much. I don't know about Zokou and Yumtang. But even though if you have known these two things, you would have answer got A3 and C2. A3 and C2. There is only A3, C2. C2 is only in fact this one. A3 is only this one. Once again you see the difficulty. A3 and C2. So you need to know about even the valleys in the Nagala, in the northeastern India, Zokou Valley, whether it is, where is Yumtang Valley, then only you can answer this question. So if you have done only about the Himalayas of the western side of the Himalayas, the western Himalayas of India, that is on the Kashmir, Ladakh, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, and you have ignored Sikkim, Northeast, Assam, all such places, you could not have answered this. Because in fact, if you know about Markha Valley and Sangla Valley, it is of no point. You need to know about Zokou and Yamtang, only then you will be able to get this answer right. So the answer is this one. Yumtang Valley is Sikkim and Zokou Valley is of the Nagaland. Now this is the technique I am trying to tell you. While you are practicing, you should not have known these certain things. Vinita, good, you got it right. That's good out of you. Good. So these are the techniques which you need to understand. There are certain expectations and there are certain things which you might not know. Now, what are the learnings from today's session? Learnings, these are very, very important for us. Right. One learning, map reading is really, really important. So what is the outcome? Maybe I would practice 10 minutes a day for 2 to 3 months to get a command over locational things of India and the world. This is one. Then the second thing, conceptual clarity is needed. Conceptual clarity. So you need to know about certain geographical concepts about the topic India physiography. Then the third thing you need to know about is can't avoid or maybe I would say that you can't commit blunders about easy questions because this is always an edge. This is in learnings which you will do it every day. So these are the things which you need to focus about. Even from the conceptual clarity, India physiography. What are the mountain ranges of India? Mountain range. What is syntaxial bend? Such kind of things you should have known, right? Now this is not a mountain ranges of Himalayas is not just fact, it is also a concept because you are talking about the elevations. So with this, I hope you all have understood this topic. You got in fact, I have given you some of the prominent valleys here. Sikkim, you see Yumtang Valley, Chumbi Valley, Arunachal Pradesh Valley, Dibang, Dihang as well. You can see Himachal Pradesh, you see, we all know this, Lahore Valley, Kulu Valley, Spiti Valley, popular places, Sangla is one such one, right? Bakara, Nangal, okay, Kangra, all these are important places. Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, you can see this, all these are important valleys which they can be asking. In fact, when you talk about Himalayas, if these are like that, these are the valleys, no? Definitely they will be asking about valleys, right? Similarly, read that topic which I have given you in the previous day before yesterday. I have discussed about a topic in YouTube. You can see snowless winters in Himalayas. You will get to know the significance of Himalayas as well there as well. The significance of how climate is interrelated and all, the Gulmarg regions and all, we'll discuss that. That's it, right? So I hope this is the thing. Ritu, where do you need to study about valleys? Mapping, current affairs. It is mapping and it is a mix of current affairs if it is covered in the current affairs. Otherwise, simply mapping. Take popular valleys of Kashmir, popular valleys of Ladakh, popular valleys of Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim. You will learn something. Maybe you will not remember about everything, but at least something is better than other things, no? For example, here, if you have not known about Spiti Valley, Kulu Valley and all, your understanding about India's mapping is difficult. And in fact, this question, I would rate this as a very, very difficult question. I don't expect you to know this. If you leave this question, did not attempt this, it is absolutely okay. If you need to cover everything, then everything is covered, then the syllabus is everything under the sun is syllabus of geography, everything under the sun is syllabus for UPSC. You cannot cover all the things we expect to do, but this question is very difficult. Very difficult. So the probability of a topper getting even this question right is also bare minimum. Maybe if you leave these questions out of 100, imagine that you got only 99 questions. Right? That is the thing. Okay, that is the thing. In fact, I would be absolutely okay if you don't get this question right. In fact, but definitely, if you get this question wrong, then it is absolutely not okay. This would be I call it as a blunder, right? So that is the difference. I hope you got it now. So that's it for today. At one more thing, I would like to tell you, every Friday I am doing previous year questions which were asked by UPSC topic wise. So every Friday I will be doing this. And the second session you will be having it on India Physiography in the master class in the textbook app. You can get into my Telegram channel and get such information. Every Monday and Tuesday I am discussing about current affairs associated with geography. So every every day, Monday we will be having sessions. Monday and Wednesday are meant for current affairs of geography. When the Friday was meant for previous year questions. This is how we are trying to continue. Do watch them. Maybe this Monday, because of Pongal, we might not have a video, but regularly we are having such videos. This week I have discussed about why there is less snowfall in winter in the Gulmarg region. Similarly, we have discussed about other current affairs events as well. Okay, so such kind of things which were in news, we have covered it. So do watch that, right? So you can get into my Telegram channel. If you have any doubt and all, you can always interact with me here, and you can just simply scan the QR code, or simply type Venkatesh or geographical voyage. You can get any doubts. I will be clarifying you there. Also, I'll be also giving you the PDF file of this session there in the Telegram channel. Right then, thank you. Happy Pongal, all of you. We'll be discussing that again in the next week. Happy Pongal, right? Thank you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Right.